Hey guys, this is your module selection guide for 21-22. I remember doing a video for you guys last year about module selection in much the same circumstances. I'm a little older, I'm definitely a lot grayer, and I was hoping by this time I wouldn't be doing this and we'd be doing this in person, but of course it's not been the case, sadly. So here I am to patronize you heavily while telling you which modules you can select next year. So very quickly go through the rules again. Just as an adjournment to this video is here for information purposes. I will also be sending you a document with all this information in and a copy of these slides without my mug in the corner. So you'll have plenty of information. You may contact me about your module choices at any time between now and the module selection date. As I'm making this video on the 30th of March, I still don't know when that's going to be. But you will be informed about it as soon as we know. And yeah, so you can contact me for queries about Welsh language modules. Please contact Dr. Aileen Price. She will be more than happy to help you. And there's one student on, I believe, on the journalism pathway, journalism, media and communication degree. Have a chat with Elena, that one student. I'm not going to say who it is. There's one student. Okay, so you know that. I think you know the basic rules by now. Single honours students must take 6 modules in media, 120 credits. Joint honours, 3 modules in media, 60 credits, and you must take those in each of your 2 subjects. You've got to do a total of 120 credits across the 2 teaching blocks. All modules are 20 credits. There are no compulsory modules at level 3 for BA Media and Communications. Students who take the dissertation must also take 310 dissertation preparation. They're not one and the same, but one obviously leads into the other. Students who choose MS 307 must have taken creative media practice previously. That's Mostyn's module from last year, or this year, right? Students who choose MS 309 must have taken Introduction to Journalism. That's an old rule, right? No, it's a new rule. No, that's okay. Yeah. And joint honours students may only do a dissertation in one of their subjects. You can't do 2 dissertations. You can do it in one. So if you did it in media, you'd be taking up 40 credits of media by doing that. MSP 300R is compulsory for BA Public Relations and Media students. Now, there are slightly different rules for that one student who's taken journalism, media and communication. Again, you take the 6 modules, 120 credits, equal split, but you have compulsory modules, okay? And I'll come to that when they come up. And basically, you only choose 1 additional optional module per teaching block because you have 4 compulsory modules across this entire year. But it's only applying to 1 student. But that must feel so special at this point in time that I have discussed them now like 3 times. You know, for 1 person, that's huge. You know, I don't afford that much attention to anyone but myself, quite frankly. So, what modules do we actually have? Okay. I mean, I'll go through each of these in turn, all right? This is just an overview. This will be on your document as well. As you can see, there's a lot of choices here. Because the vast majority of you will have non-compulsory choices in media this year, there's a lot of choices. Also, quite an extensive provision in the medium of Welsh this year as well, which is fantastic. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff here that you can choose from. We have got modules from other departments as well. Now, HIH 3379 is one I've listed on this list here, but I haven't talked about in the presentation because to this moment, we were told about this module and it's still not live on the system. There is a possibility, therefore, that it's not going to happen this year because it's not showing up on the system. If it is showing up on the system, it will be there when you come to select. But as I'm recording this, it's not there, which makes me think it's probably not going to be live for next year. If you want to know more about this, I have some synopsis about it. I haven't put it up because it's not the official one that's been published on the university system. You're more than happy to get in touch with me about this if you want to find out more. That's in teaching block 2 at the bottom there, history on screen, television, cinema and gaming. Now, it's not one of our modules, it's a history module, so my knowledge of it is going to be kind of limited because I wasn't involved in the development of it and anything like that. But you know, if you want to find out more, do drop me a line. At this point in time, I haven't felt confident enough to include information on it in this presentation simply because I don't have information to put in this presentation, which makes me think, even at this late stage, it's probably not one for this year, but it was one that was floated to us. I thought I'd make you aware of it. It might show up. So yeah, on the subject of which, so those are the modules. Journalism student. You have compulsories report in the 21st century, which is with Richard Thomas. Dissertation is compulsory for you. Actually, that's dissertation preparation, I should say there. And then you can choose one of video production, drama and documentary on screen, strategy, branding, sports PR, media, gender and sexuality, and creative non-fiction, which is another one actually that might not run. I'll make you aware of it, but it is a possibility it might not run. In teaching block 2, that one student has the dissertation and doing digital journalism as compulsories, and they can choose between practical web, digital futures, the internship, and the internship is going to be a big thing here, and contemporary film and television. So I'm going to go through each of the modules by turn, okay? I'm not giving a sales pitch because I'm the world's worst salesman, 1, and 2, they speak for themselves, right? So MS 302 I'll start with. These are teaching block 1 modules. I'll switch partway through to teaching block 2 modules. So these are your modules in teaching block 1. Media, gender and sexuality. Extremely popular module. Module looks at the history of research on gender and media and the theoretical approaches that inform the study of gender and sexuality in the media. You're asked to think critically about the ever-changing representations of gender and sexuality in a range of different media. Really important point here, this is not a module limited to female students. Okay, this is a module for all students, and it is an extremely interesting module, as you can well imagine. I think there's a lot of interesting material in this module. I guess in terms of pathway, I would still include this on the theory pathway. This is discussing theories of gender representation, gender identity and so on, and sort of the approach of taking gender into account when assessing the media, which is a theoretical approach. So I guess it fits in that theory pathway downwards, but it can inform so many other things. If you're looking at doing a dissertation, for example, you want to use gender as a variable in any sort of way, be it representation of women in particular texts, or responses towards different media stimuli by women, I think this would be really important. So it's always a very popular module, always very highly subscribed. It's not capped though, and people usually do very well in it. Dissertation preparation. Sorry, I've cut a little bit off there, but I know what's coming up. This is compulsory for the 1 BA in journalism and media student. It is not compulsory for the rest of you. So the dissertation itself is not compulsory for the rest of you. An interesting thing, you could do the preparation module, and if you didn't want to continue with the dissertation, you can transfer off it. So because the dissertation module is a second semester module. So, but dissertation preparation, you have to have done this to do the dissertation. So you can't have not done one with, you can't do the dissertation without this. This is an introduction to doing a dissertation, basically. So within this, you have 2 assessments, a proposal and a research method / literature review essay, which you will do in that time. And the purpose of this module really is to get you to narrow down onto a particular dissertation idea, to allocate you a supervisor who is in that field of expertise, and to get you working with that person on these 2 pieces, which are not fully carried forward into the dissertation, but versions of this will be available in your dissertation. So for example, the proposal itself, you'll do some methodology stuff, you'll do some introduction stuff, and you'll be expected to act upon that, expand them, refine them, deal with feedback and criticism of them that you had when they're marked, and then they will take a form which you could possibly use in the dissertation itself. So you are doing active preparation towards the writing of the final dissertation piece in that way. So it's a critically important module. The vast majority of students do a dissertation in the 3rd year. I personally think it's a really important thing to do, and this is the module which sets you up really from an expectation that you won't have committed a huge amount of time to thinking about exactly what form your dissertation is going to take. By the end of this, you will know exactly what form your dissertation is going to take. So this is a critically important module in that sense. Video production, some of you will already be familiar with video production from year 2, right? It's a module that presents principles, theories and techniques surrounding video production. Again, presentation and video project are the main assessment modes, and this time for 323. And if you like, predictably, this is a refinement of the skills you would have picked up in video production in year 2 had you done that module. So it is like taking those skills and pushing them up to next level, if you like. So for those of you who have done that module, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Drama and doc on screen, I guess, falls into the film studies pathway, and you'll be developing, I guess, a lot of the sort of analytic skills that you would have done over the previous 2 years across your kind of film and television modules, screen analysis, narrative analysis, etc. You know the drill by now. You're all hands at this, right? So this module really does focus though on these two elements, drama and documentary. We'll look at main pioneers within it, have a chance to consider how the two genres have adapted, combined and developed over the years, including the switch to digital. So 3 different assessments here: short essay, an essay, and a presentation at the end as well. So a mix-up of stuff, keep you thinking. And yeah, again, very popular module, very well subscribed, but not capped. Good module, and most of you have done good work in film, so you will know what you're doing. MS 336, reporting the 21st century, compulsory for 1 student. But I'm hoping many others of you will take this module as well. Kind of does what it says on the tin. This is about the practices of reporting news in the 21st century. So Richard's done a really good job on this title. Yeah, that's what it's going to be about. So it's contemporary work around how a journalistic output is achieved in the 21st century. And within that, you'll be discussing some of the classic themes within journalism studies as they have been reified into the 21st century, and how the impact of the transfer of everything to digital and online has affected those things. So I think it's a fairly straightforward thing. You can quite well understand and predict what you're going to be doing. Presentation here and a final report are the 2 assessment two assessments for this module. Sports PR was, it's not even a new one anymore because it's been running a couple of years now. Advanced level introduction to the role communications play within sports, and how public relations, advertising, marketing, branding, and social media help shape our perceptions of stars, teams, and disciplines. So wide-ranging focus here. Really, really interesting way of going about this module. Students develop and implement an authentic multimedia campaign and cross-platform promotional campaign for one of the university's many sports societies. And Ewan runs a public sports PR symposium held around week 4, where students learn about the practical realities of sports PR practitioners' professional lives, and that forms part of the module's assessment as well. So you actually have a live event which your responses to are going to be assessed on, which is a really, really interesting way of doing things. Again, this has been popular, never had one person complain about it, so I can only assume it's good, and yeah, I'm into sport. Yeah. MSP 300R, strategy, branding and marketing, compulsory for BA, PR and media. Advanced level to the theories, principle and practical techniques involved for effective integrated marketing and branding. So if you like, the advanced part of MSP 200R, which I guess you guys will still be doing right now, Ishan, because it's a 2nd semester module, right? 2 courseworks in this. I think you're familiar with how these modules run by now if you're on the PR strand or if you're doing the BA in PR and media degree. And key stages in the process of marketing campaign will explore in detail. So you're drilling down into process and how differentiation of process happens at each of these stages as well. So I'm really, really stretching my knowledge of this stuff to this point here, so I'm not going to embarrass myself any further. Moving on swiftly. Obviously, it's compulsory for some of you, but you guys will know the effectiveness of these modules, having taken them in the past. So if it's something that you're interested in continuing, I recommend. This is one I recommend, but I don't, because you can see the code here, EN3055. This is by my good friend Dr. Chris Pack in the English department. Story through graphics. This is being offered to media students. Now, some of you may have taken modules in different departments previously and had differing sort of experiences with them. This is a newish module around the graphic novel and how they relate to component terms graphic and novel, how we read them, what are their antecedents, so what is the history of this and what is the lineage of the graphic novel, and how do contemporary works speak to the development of the form. Through an examination of Brian Talbot's Alice in Sunderland and Carol Swain's Gast, this module combines the focus on the literary and the visual to equip you with these things. So if you are interested in comic books, graphic novels, and so on, this is a module that's been put on. Now, There's not a huge amount here that reeks of prior knowledge, although there might well be a steep learning curve with this when you're being asked to apply a lot of theory around art, storytelling, identity, history and psychogeography, for example, and indeed narrative and so on if you haven't studied that before. So do keep that in mind, but this is a very kind offer from the English department. I think it's a good module. It's clearly a very good module. You know, it's something if you are interested in. I'm happy to speak more about or put you in touch with Chris, and Chris can explain more to you. Creative non-fiction. Now, we've given this as an additional module as well. There is a possibility actually the creative non-fiction won't run. It's not appearing on the system at the moment as running. So I'm going to leave this information up here in the guide. I'm not going to say too much about it. As you can see, there's 2 assignments here, 2,000 word portfolio accompanied by a reflective essay and a 4,000 word portfolio accompanied by a 1,500 word reflective essay. So it's a lot of work around the sort of, I guess, as a complementary piece to some of the work Elena does about alternative journalism and different journalistic genres. So it's a big module. It's I'd say a module where you've got to do a lot of writing, but that could appeal to a lot of people as well. So very practical, very much about developing portfolios of work around non-fiction. So it's something there, but at this point in time I'm not 100% sure if it's going to run, so the information is there anyway. HIH 3378, The Story of America on Film and Television, 1865 to 2008. This also runs in Welsh as well for students who want to study it in the medium of Welsh. Interesting to look at the assessment here, weekly historical reviews, a group presentation and a 2-hour examination. So there's a lot of tough examination going on in this module, albeit I think the content is extremely interesting. For example, looking at how the story of America has been constructed on film and television, and therefore how that has contributed towards what people think is the history of America, and how the representation of America has contributed towards what we understand as the history of America. This is a history module, it's not a media module, but it is open to us, and I guess fits nicely within the sort of thematic area of film and that sort of pathway as well. So I'm sure there'll be some interesting material in it also. Modules in the medium of Welsh, please contact Dr. Ilan Price if you want to ask about the modules in the medium of Welsh. I'm sure there's some of you who are interested in doing them, and you've probably had these conversations already. Now, going into teaching block 2, dissertation. Compulsory for BA Journalism, Media and Communication, that one person. The rest of you who decided to do it, this dissertation enables students to engage in long-term, in-depth research on a topic of their choice subject to the approval of the department. Assessment is the dissertation, which is typically an 8,000 word piece, and you're like, oh my god, 8,000 words. Relax, doesn't actually work like that. You will be writing it stage by stage. It is pieced together from a number of things, including some of the stuff you would have done in MS 310, although that will be adjusted and amended accordingly to fit with the final dissertation. So yeah, it's a dissertation. Chat with it with your supervisor when you get one. But it's a huge accomplishment and a huge sense of achievement when you hand it in. It's like, and you keep it forever. It's like bang, it's like that. It's this huge thing. It's awesome. MS 312, Media and Communication Internship. No module in the 3rd year causes me as much pain and suffering as MSS 312, Media and Communication Internship. God knows how much pain and suffering it causes Sean, who actually runs the module. This module causes pain and suffering because we have a cap on this module. Should have mentioned earlier that video production in year 3 has a cap also about 20. This module has a cap of 22 and it is massively oversubscribed. So what do you need to do to get on this module? Well, you need to make your module selections when they're open. There isn't much else we can do about it than that, unfortunately. Now, what I encourage people to do is, if you want to be on the internship module and it is full, email me as soon as possible. I literally start constructing a waiting list for this module as soon as the module selection opens, pretty much. It's a little bit after that. It's usually the next day or something like that. And it will go in the order, the waiting list will go in the order of who emails me. So if a place comes up, bang, the first person on the email list. It works that way. You spend 50 hours over the course of the teaching block, that should say teaching block 2, apologies for that, undertaking an internship placement within a local host organisation. Could be in any number of sectors, which you will indicate to Sian via a sort of pro forma that you will fill in before doing the module, to look at what area of media you're actually interested in going into. In addition to the experiential component, placement will be assessed on the basis of 2 academic assignments, CV and cover sheet, reflective essay. Your timesheets from the placement will be assessed also. Obviously, massively useful. I can't sell this one because it sells itself. Basically, your opportunity to do an intensive internship to give you experience to put on your CV when you're applying for jobs when you finish your degree. It's incredibly important, right? So this module is very, very popular. Please act early. Contemporary film and television, MSS 311. Again, on the film pathway, you'll be familiar with a lot of the thematic areas you're going to be covering. You'll certainly be familiar with the sort of analytic tools you'll be using in a module like this. Key word here is, of course, contemporary film and television. So this is bang up to date stuff that Joanna will be going through with you. Pitched since 1995 onwards. So we're looking at God, that makes me feel old. 1995 is now 26 years ago. I was young. I had dreams. And yes, looking across contemporary European and world cinema, as well as domestic cinema as well. Doing digital journalism, compulsory for BA journalism, media and communication. That one student has their path mapped out. This module offers a comprehensive guide to the practice. And it's always interesting when the module title is started with a verb. You know what you're getting. You're doing digital journalism, right? So this comprehensive guide to the practices, techniques and skills used in the research, development and production of journalism in an online environment. It aims to increase your employability, obviously, by getting you to produce an online journalism portfolio, and you'll be doing a reflective essay on that task as well. So very, very useful if you're looking to move into this field or into an associated field. DigiFutures, firmly on that digital media pathway, critically exploring contemporary developments in digital media and digital humanities by exploring previous theoretical and critical traditions of thought. So marrying theoretical thought with the contemporary digital milieu in which we exist in, and doing a lot of analysis of new media and digital technology, and providing a critical framework for research and practice in new media. Very, very important module actually if you're doing a dissertation and you're doing something around the digital, be it social media or some other related topic. This is very, very important in doing that. You will do a company report and an essay as part of this module. Practical web technologies, Mostyn Part 2. It is the follow-on from MS221 Media Practice Skills, which you would have been doing this year. That is a prerequisite for this module. This module is capped, but obviously Media Practice Skills was also capped. Therefore, it kind of self-caps itself, basically. Within this one, you'll be furthering a lot of those skills and producing fully functioning websites. So you'll be doing an individual design project and a project report. Less of a group focus this time and more of that individual focus, but all good. And a furtherment of the skills you would have developed in year 2. Onto modules we're being offered in other departments: writing for radio and screen, series of weekly workshops in the theory of practice, and writing for performance. Clarifies how writing for film and audio differ from stage, and includes specific teaching sessions and assignments in these areas of performance writing. In terms of assessment for this, you're asked to submit 2 portfolios. First will be a radio script of up to 2,500 words, plus a 500-word reflective essay on that production. Second will be a short film script of a maximum 2,500 words plus 500-word reflective essay. So again, these modules are about writing, right? And you've got to like writing to do them, because that is 6,000 words. That is like 3/4 of a dissertation, this module. But again, this has been offered to us because there are students who express interest in this kind of media production, and this is a valid form of media production. Therefore, we think it's important that these are offered. If you want to find out more information about this, get in touch with me and I can put you in touch with the relevant people. MLF 305, Intersectional Identities in Contemporary French Cinema, again firmly along our pathway of film studies. This has been offered to students this year also. It is a further refinement of this kind of film theory and film analysis skills that you would have been doing throughout your degree, looking specifically, of course, at French cinema and the intersections of race, ethnicity, class, sexuality, and gender in contemporary French cinema as well. So a further refinement of film studies in this way, and fits into the film pathway. And we have modules in the medium of Welsh, including the internship in the medium of Welsh, where there are a limited number of places, also very, very limited, I think 4. So this is the offering for your final year of your degree. Where do we go from here? Well, this is where we go from here. I am available to talk to you about any of these choices on Monday the 19th of April at 3 p.m. I will be on Zoom, and you will have a link to this in the email, which you would have found a link to this very video that I'm speaking to you on right now, which I will be holding an open session about your choices, and what you might want to take, and what questions you have, and so on. You know the score, right? I'm just going to be there, and you can ask me questions. It's going to be fine. We don't as yet know the exact date of the module selection, but I am available basically to talk to you at any point between now and then, should you wish to. So, and you will know that as soon as we know it also. But do go through the information I've sent you. Do ask any questions that you have, no matter how small. This is very important. So, no matter how small a question, please feel free to ask. And hopefully I'll see many of you on the 19th at 3 p.m. Adios, amigos.